Joe, today is a very monumentous day on the White People Problems and OC podcast because, first of all, it's the end of 2003, baby. the year's over. We can finally look forward to the future of 2004. But it's also our first ever return guest on the podcast, which is, of course, also our first guest, Erin Mallory Long. Look at that. You've got two titles now. First guest and first repeat.
Two honors.
And this was one where you came onto the show, and then I think you were texting me that day because you just kept watching season 1.
Yeah.
And I got a message where it was like, if no one's claimed Countdown, I want it. So.
I have since finished watching all 4 seasons.
Yes.
And I moved on to Lost afterwards.
Perfect transition.
I was gonna do Gossip Girl, make that connection, and instead I followed Alan Dale.
Okay.
To Lost.
Right.
Yes.
And now I literally just finished watching the season 5 finale of Lost. So I'm like in it to win it. Like
it's Lost.
Things are happening.
If you want to follow Alan Dale further after Lost, you should go down the Ugly Betty route. Because
I've never seen Ugly Betty, and I really feel like I should.
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
Absolutely. He basically plays Caleb Nickel in Ugly Betty.
Who is also similar... Charles Widmore, basically.
Yes. We've typecast Alan Dale as a shitty white man, rich white man.
Yeah, at least on the OC, I guess he gets to be American, change it up a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
Real quick on the Lost tangent. Lost was a show, I don't know how this happened for me. I must have started that first season 8 times and never could not get hooked onto it. Nothing worked. And then literally last year, I was like, all right, let's give Lost a second shot, its 7th shot. And then I think I watched the whole series in under a month.
Yeah.
I was like, this is amazing. Why did this not work for me? It's just, I was in the right headspace finally to watch that show. But
I've never rewatched it since it was on air. This is my first time, and it's really hitting a sweet spot for me. Just like the OC did, by the way. Rewatching the OC really just hit a sweet spot for me.
And I'm throwing this out there as a hot take. I really enjoyed the Lost ending, and I think it was because I dedicated a month to the story and not 6 years to the story. But
I know. I can't wait. I literally get to dive into season 6 at the end of this recording. So I'm really excited to see how it ends up tying up. I'm sure I'll be done by tomorrow. I'll just...
Lost, they have infamously short seasons. So here we are doing the countdown. First of all, I do have to ask, is there any particular reason can you remember why you felt like you needed to come back for this episode?
I remember this episode so vividly just because of the Oliver Trask of it all. And just because he is so annoying from the moment he appears. You're just so who is this guy? Get out of here.
So Erin, last week's episode with Chris McCaw, one of the last notes I wrote was, God, I hope I never see this lobby kid again. And then immediately starting this episode, I said, ugh, he's still here. And then they said his name Oliver, and it triggered a memory of a past guest saying that there was only one character on the show he found completely devoid of redeemability, and it was Oliver. And I was like, great. So this means that I get to deal with this dude for a couple episodes at a minimum, seasons at a maximum.
Yeah.
So.
I know. I have to even more try not to give you spoilers this time, because now I've watched the whole series.
Yeah, it's all fresh
recently.
So it's fresh.
Dear God. And I actually did write very few notes on this because I figured this is going to go all over the damn place anyway. So I say, let's just dive in. Let's just talk about it. Let's get right into it, because first couple minutes, Ryan and Marissa, they're coming home. They're standing outside the pool house. Marissa thinking that it's a delight to make jokes about, that time that she almost died and that time that she almost got Ryan arrested. Classic comedy. And then tells Ryan that she loves him, to which he says, thank you. And then we meet Kirsten's sister. This is the first 3 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
Like, so much happens in such quick succession.
Wait,
So
you
much
forgot
happens.
you forgot the also like what the central conflict is, that he does what he does an Emily Ross where he's like, thank you for I love you.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
So
It
the
is
central conflict.
It is.
It's and this one has there ever been a TV show where a character says I love you, the other person doesn't respond with I love you, where it goes multiple episodes? I feel like you always know when that happens. Oh, they'll be saying I love you before this episode's credits roll.
Right.
Like
Yeah, that's not like gonna be the cliffhanger. Yeah. Like, well, does he love her? My note on the comedy is that was that I wrote down like I love when the OC goes like jaunty, like on Grey's Anatomy. Like where you can tell from the music like nothing bad is really happening. Like it's just kind of like we're not in OD territory, we're just in like awkward teen stuff. Like, and I love that feeling.
This episode,
just like, oh, okay.
Speaking of music for a split second, this episode has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 needle drops in the episode. But until like 30 minutes in, it's just like score. It goes.
I wrote down like 5 of them.
Because it's like, and we'll get it. I actually think it's kind of brilliant because it's very specific genres for each different party. Like it's like Haley's party, it's like all punk and ska music from like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Dropkick Murphys.
Yeah, like there's Alkaline Trios in there, Suicide Machines. It's great. And then like for the party that Marissa's at, it's just kind of your generic indie pop. And then for some reason the swingers party is trip hop, which I did not anticipate being the music call on that, but I was like, I appreciate that there was definitely some thought put into like each needle drop has to be a very distinct musical genre for the different parties, which is cool. We got to talk about Haley. All right. This woman walks into a pool house that is now a fully furnished home with, I would imagine, drawers and closets of clothes.
Stuff in it. Of course there are. She took one of his tank tops. Like, she knows that there's a person there. Like,
walks out there in just some undies and his tank top to have a conversation with a total stranger who clearly is supposed to be living there because you've been in there long enough to find his tank top.
Right. I also I feel like she, the character, was equally confused by their age difference, because I just want to be clear, the actress playing Haley is younger than Ben McKenzie and Adam Brody. She's younger than both of them.
Yeah.
So just, it's like, and she looks like she is.
She looked young.
So I'm just like,
I didn't know
like,
who
what's
it
going
was when she walked out. I'm like, did he walk into the wrong home?
Yeah.
I couldn't
Who
wrap my
is
head.
this?
If not for the previously on where they dropped the one random reference to Haley in the previous episode, I have no clue who this woman is.
It's so weird. And then I can't figure out, even from what they want me to figure out, how old she's supposed to be. Because Kirsten says like, oh, people your age are like out of college. And I'm like, so 22?
Well,
and getting married and having kids. And I'm like, so 27?
25?
Like,
26?
What do you want her age
No.
to
Let's
be?
think of it through this lens. Everyone's least favorite episode, The Girlfriend. She was what? She was 23, 24. Like, it was like just old enough to be creepy.
I think she was 25.
25. Because she says
I
to
feel like
Haley,
it was 25, but
when she lets Haley know that Caleb is dating Julie Cooper, she says, at least now he's dating people my age and not your age. So I feel like that's the closest hint we get to, okay, so she's maybe 24, 25 years old.
Okay, but also, this isn't a spoiler, but I get really hung up on ages. Oh, okay. So I think it's a season 4 episode where Kirsten is celebrating her 40th birthday. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
Listen, I know
Seth
you.
is 18 right
Erin,
now. What are you talking about?
Our friendship began as a listener podcaster relationship while you spent I want to say 200 episodes trying to figure out the weird time warp age gap of the entire Friends universe, where like by season 7, some of them are just turning 30, which is bonkers.
You're like, what? Why were you 26 7 years ago? Like, what do you mean? It's crazy because then in this episode, Sandy says they've been married 17 years.
Oh my God. So yeah.
How is that not a woman who's already over 40? How is she turning 40 in season 4? Also,
Oh my
it's
God.
not like, it's never
this is the
said
continuity
that, like,
stuff that drives me nuts.
it drives me crazy.
All right. So here's my subplot.
Like,
Kirsten cheated on Jimmy Cooper with Sandy Cohen, fresh out of high school, got pregnant, shotgun wedding. Now she's about to turn 40.
But that's what I mean. Their whole story is that they met in college. I mean, I don't really want to spend the whole time talking about this, but like they met at UC Berkeley. And if you keep watching, there's like flashbacks to them at UC Berkeley. Like they get into it. There's no weird thing where it's like, oh, and we got married freshman year of college because obviously Seth was.
I feel like if you offered me $1 million, side note, I would not guess that the OC would be a show with a flashback in it. But
but
it seems like
You'd
it's
be
such
wrong.
a linear storytelling.
Buckle
The
up.
past does not
No.
seem to matter that much in this show. But
please buckle up.
But yeah, Kirsten's sister
my God,
Haley, like, just this episode's so weird because like it's like everything happens and nothing happens all
Yes.
simultaneously. Like the
Totally.
status quo of every single character in this show moves no inches whatsoever. But for 45 minutes, it feels like things could change. But like you're also like, there's zero chance in hell that I'm about to watch Kirsten fuck a stranger at a swingers party. Like the stakes could not have been lower during that entire subplot. Like,
It's so funny too because I'm like, Kirsten, Sandy is a charming guy. I don't think you want to play chicken with him at a swinging party.
Every
like,
single
I'm sorry.
woman in that room is like, ooh, who's this guy that showed up?
Everyone's like, awesome. Like, let's get with him. Like, no one, you're not winning this game, Kirsten. I thought it was weird too because the only thing my gateway to key parties is the movie The Ice Storm.
Okay.
Which features it takes place during an ice storm at a key party, right? In the 70s.
Yeah.
This is a watch party.
Yeah.
Which is somehow weirder because then like you as a person, you have to go, I'm going to my swingers party, got to bring my watch. Like otherwise I have nothing to give in, you know?
Also, I feel like at a rich ass party like that, there's got to be multiple watches that look almost identical.
Are the same. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's my $18,000 watch, whatever, you know? Like, I know, it's the same
insane.
one. Like,
and then, like, so essentially it's just, we're seeing 3 different New Year's Eve fiascos. Sandy and Kirsten, Haley makes them think that they've, like, become this boring couple. I am very charmed when they're driving and Sandy's trying to prove that they're still fun. He's like, well, we won't even follow directions. Who knows where we're going? Like, he's having a good time with that. Ryan and Seth have decided that they're going to just keep it low key, hang out the house. And then like Hurricane Haley is rolled in with like apparently the same party from Can't Hardly Wait happening at this
yeah.
Like the fact that it's like the door opens and there are 60 people just ready to bombard in.
It's always like that. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I've never been to a party that's operated like this. Like,
I've been to at least 2 parties in my life where I thought, man, this does feel like a 90s teen flick, like with how many people were there and how crazy it was.
Yeah.
But it wasn't ever the first people to show up. It's like, it starts off, it's like a small gathering of like 10 or 15 people. And then like someone's friend who you kind of know is like, can I come and bring friends? And then all of a sudden, like 5 cars of strangers pull up outside the house. And you're like, what have we done?
Right.
Like, it's barely believable when it happens for like surprise parties.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, just everyone happens to be there. And also like, not to say too much about Haley's friends, but like, these like Southern California OC degenerates, like they all showed up at the same time to this.
Yeah, they were very
mansion.
They like took a bus over together,
Yeah.
you know.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's
That's what's unbelievable. It's like everyone's arriving at the same time doesn't make any sense.
but then also the final party that we keep bouncing into is Marissa gets invited to a party hosted by everyone's favorite new character, Oliver. That
Yeah.
also, for reasons that are never fully explained, Anna is also there, but like it's like the
Yes.
thinnest veiled explanation, like because she's not seen hanging out with anybody but Summer throughout this entire
Right.
party.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, my parents know the parents of the guy who
Mhm.
threw this party." And I'm like,
Yeah,
"What?"
that's like if like when I was
wouldn't go to
10,
that.
when I was 10, my parents' friends' kids were forced to come to my birthday party. When I
Right.
was 17, I didn't feel an obligation to go to the party of my parents' friend's kid. Like,
No. It makes no sense. It's so weird. There's one thing that they do a lot on the OC that they specifically do in this episode that I love, which is when the parent storyline and the kid storyline have like callback jokes
mhm.
to each
Mhm.
other, like where they tell basically the same joke. And so it's the not Ryan Seacrest, the like Carson Daly ball dropping
Yeah.
and Dick Clark ball dropping thing, which I just am very tickled by. I'm just like, anytime we can
The callback
bring
is
together.
the callback is funnier than the actual joke that they felt was worth writing twice. Like the joke itself is like so like hacky like
But I
2003
think that's
writing.
part of it. I think that's part of it. Like, I think part of it is like that it's not like a great joke. It's just like
It's just there.
they're both, they both like make this reference, make this joke.
And then so I feel like the best way to do this is we'll just tackle each party. And I'll say we'll tackle them in order of importance. So we'll start with the swingers party, the lowest of the stakes.
It was like the most important.
Like, I mean, I feel like we've already covered most of the swingers party, but is there
Yeah.
anything else that we feel like we need to add to this? Oh, for spoiler
Where-
alert for people
I
who
forget
haven't
what-
seen the episode, Sandy didn't put his watch in the bowl. It was all a big fake out to get Kirsten to think that
Yeah.
something might happen.
But also, I was like, I know these people are supposed to be rich, but just logistically, there were a lot of people at that party.
Yeah.
They have that many bedrooms that they all went on
Thank
to?
you. Thank you.
Everyone cleared the room, and I'm like, you have 17 bedrooms in this house?
Erin, you can fuck anywhere.
I-
Someone probably went to a
Yeah, but
kitchen.
these are rich people.
These are rich people, you
That's
know?
true.
Like,
I like my sex like my ice cream vanilla, but isn't the point of the key party that you're supposed to go to the car that key corresponds with?
well, yeah, I think in a key party, you go to the house that the keys
Okay.
corresponds with.
Okay, then yeah, I got
you
no
go to
clue.
the
You really
house.
fucked this
But
up
this
with
is
the
a
watch.
watch. So
Yep, they really screwed this up. They should have put keys in that bowl.
you go to the Cartier store where you got your watch, I guess?
Yeah. You go to the mall or the boutique and you try to break in. Erin, God, we are the same woman, because I was like, there are no, as they're leaving, I was like, there's no way that this house has that many bedrooms.
No, there's nowhere to go.
Maybe it's no one's
Yeah,
actual
and it's
house.
like-
Maybe this was a home they built exclusively for New Year's Eve parties to have this watch party.
Yes.
It's just all
Yes, it's a
bedrooms.
Newport group.
It's
It's
also,
a Newport group home.
especially since in this episode, like Haley's whole thing is like, I think a couple people reference like how you start the new year is like how your year is going to go. I think it's so funny that coming up in the episode that the key party, the watch party, always happens on New Year's Eve. They're like, I want to make sure my whole year is filled with swinging.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I just need to, I need to start swinging, and I need to always be swinging like, for
Yeah.
the entire calendar year.
This is the thing that has probably bothered me since I was like 8 watching TV shows. But I hate the fact that some poor guy had to show up to multiple auditions to just play the role of the guy Taryn is upset to draw the watch of. like stuff like that makes me so
Yeah.
sad.
100%.
Like, ugh,
100%.
This poor
Like, these
dude.
are people who have money, so like you would think that maybe there was a more, I don't know, discerning application process.
Yeah.
Because like you're gonna have a swingers party and you don't know that Kirsten and Sandy are like, whoever walks through the door
Yeah, just welcome.
Also, why would Haley ever know about this party?
Yeah, who they
She's
thought
not
was in
married.
Thailand at the beginning of the episode has somehow maybe she's attended the swingers party in the past. She's been the wild card. One person goes home alone. She's throwing off the numbers.
Also, like, consent, right? I mean, like, I hate to go here, but like, if you don't want to have sex with that guy, then like, you probably shouldn't have sex with that guy.
You shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be
Yeah,
part of the
yeah.
deal.
I feel like the flip side of that is like I feel like that's the weird secret contract you're signing at a swingers party. Because the other solution is just don't go. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
solution number one is just don't attend the party. But all right, so that's their little story until they come back to their home at the end. Let's jump to Oliver. Let's deal with this Oliver nonsense for a little bit.
Hold on. You think the Oliver party is the next level of importance?
I
It's not the most
actually
important?
don't, but I think that the Haley party is the natural final conclusion of the whole episode.
Okay,
So,
okay.
like, oh no, I guess it's not true. Oliver is the final shot. So okay,
Oliver's the countdown.
Yeah, okay, so we'll go to Haley's party. So Seth and Ryan's plan to lay low. Haley convinces them, look, you're just sitting here all by yourself. You should go to this party at Oliver's house. And like just as they're about to leave, in in a way as comical as like when that dude says that must be Nigel with the brie and 10 things I hate about you before the entire high school
Yeah.
shows up. They like open the door to all of Newport Beach apparently like storming this house and immediately are like, we cannot leave this house. We have to protect the Casa de Cohen at all costs.
That must be Nigel with the brie at Bogey's party is such a such a thing that I always say.
I say
it's
it-
always in my
Yeah.
mind.
Every time I walk through the grocery store and see brie, I say it to myself. Oh, that must be Nigel with the brie.
There's like a liquor store in LA called like Bogey's Liquor. And I was like, I wonder if like someone was writing 10 things they hate about you and just like driving past this
Yeah.
and we're like,
Yeah,
Bogey.
perfect name.
Yeah, that one.
Like this.
But yes, the party's insane. They're like, we can't leave here until we shut this shit down. And Ryan, in doing so, finds out that someone wants to murder Haley for over 3 G's that she owes them.
Okay, and do we ever deal with that in this episode?
We don't in this
No.
episode. Do we deal with it in future episodes? I'll find out, but I'm guessing no.
I don't think so.
I'm thinking this is a subplot that disappeared.
I also don't think that we deal with it either. Haley's still a problem, but we don't
Yeah.
deal with this.
She's
I
running
don't
from a
think
girl whose
so.
name is Cameo, side note, which now just means
Yeah.
a weird app. So when they kept saying that
Yeah.
Cameo is coming, I was like, what is happening? Yeah, I guess Cameo, when the power
she
went out,
looked
she's
like
like,
a
well, debt's
cameo.
cleared now. So it's like,
Yeah, she was like, everything is cool now. Like, that's fine.
it was like in Fight Club where they blew up the debt. They were just like, okay, it's gone now.
Yeah.
We're good.
Well, and it's just hard. I mean, I don't want to sound like, a sexist or something, but it's hard to be like scared of like these girls in like low-rise denim skirts.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, what?
At the most, it's going to be like
Yes.
watching any female on the Jersey Shore fight another female in the Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but also like JWoww is scary.
No, JWoww,
like these
actually,
girls.
JWoww,
are
I am
not.
afraid of. But like, if Snooki or Angela was trying to fight me, I'd be like, go ahead, punch me. I think I'll be okay.
Like these girls, I was like, I don't know what you're gonna do to Haley, but I think she's fine.
The most ridiculous thing
See,
of this
okay, so-
subplot, though, is her locking Ryan and Seth in the pool house, and Seth acting like they're in a coffin.
Okay, that was my hands down favorite part of the episode. Like their banter, that scene made me laugh so
When
much.
she opens the door to ask them to actually help shut down the party, and he crawls to the door like, no, fresh air. Like, it's the most, honestly, to bring it back to Friends, because whenever Erin's on the show, somehow the Friends analogies start flying. It is the most Ross Geller moment in Seth Cohen's entire life.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Even just feeling claustrophobic in that space is a Ross thing.
Yeah. And as Ryan is just like, I live here. Like, it's not,
This is
we're
my
fine.
home.
There's windows
That's a-
everywhere.
3 of the walls are windows. Like
Yeah.
Ben's performance in that scene made me just laugh so much. I loved him so much in that scene. I thought it was so good.
It's also just to a certain extent, it's like I support also Ryan because it's like the comedic version is like, I live here, there's lots of windows, you're fine. The other flip side is like, listen, motherfucker, like, don't walk into my house and be like, it's so small, I'm getting claustrophobic. Like, you fucking rich narcissist. Calm down.
Also, like, his room is smaller than the pool house.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like, how does he not get claustrophobic in his own bedroom?
Seth's room is so small. It's like, just let's calm down,
It's
okay?
also- I also want to throw out there before we jump to the final party that the Coens do show up, and perfect callback to episode 1. Now it is Sandy Cohen who finds a 3-way happening at a party.
Yes.
I noted that and said, hey, that happened to Seth in the first episode.
Like, hey, wait a minute.
It was an ingenious callback.
Yes.
Like,
It's so good.
These writers know what they're doing.
It's almost,
so
it
good.
does feel like they, unlike a lot of other shows that I watch and love, I really do feel like they probably did map out most of this first season well enough to be like, oh, we can make a callback to this thing in like 8 episodes.
Yeah.
I think they're like writing on the fly on that. So now we go to Oliver. Marissa's at Oliver's house. She brings Summer. Anna's there for reasons. and Oliver is trying to work his magic. He's trying to break up our dream couple. Dream in
Well,
quotes.
Can I just say that the last name Trask is never a hero's last name. Like, Trask is never going to be
No.
the person that you're rooting for unless you're a psycho who roots for the villain every single time.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Oliver, not great.
No, Oliver Trask. A monster. Just also when they walk in and then he's like Marissa's with her 2 friends. I mean, is she really friends with Anna? We're led to believe maybe. And he just takes Marissa away and she's just like, sorry guys. Like, that is weird behavior.
Yeah.
Like, that's behavior where I would be like, no, where are you going?
Yeah.
Because I'm at a
Yeah.
party with you and now you've abandoned me.
And I don't know anyone
You've
here
left me
except for
with a
this girl
woman.
apparently is friends with that guy's parents.
Yeah.
Like-
The only person I know here is Anna, who I've been fighting for Seth against.
Which-
like, great.
Yeah.
So I hinted at this last week. I do want to talk about this. I both love and hate the Anna Summer friendship in this episode because
Mhm.
it's like, it's so sad. Like their whole friendship is built on this mutual rejection from a dude who I've come to terms with the fact is just a raging narcissist. And it's like, both of
Not
you
great.
can do better. Like, and the idea that they are so hung up on this guy and that they go and talk to that one dude, and then it becomes, our guest last week said, like, I don't even think that it's an obsession with Seth at this point. It's just wanting to be the one who is wanted. And it is like
Yeah.
so much more clear when they're having that conversation with the guy where it's like, no, you need to pick one of us.
Pick one.
Like, Seth has
Yeah.
emotionally damaged both of these women by thinking that he could just ride out the dating both of them for eternity.
I know. I'm annoyed about that whole situation because Seth has always loved Summer.
Yes.
So it like
Mhm.
just irritates me on a base level that like more people in his life aren't like, what are you talking about with this new person?
Mhm.
You like Summer, Summer likes you now. Just go explore that.
But see, I would see it from
Okay,
the opposite.
just go-
I see it
just
from the
chill.
opposite side of it, though, just a little bit. And this is obviously because I'm very team Anna here. But like, my perspective is Seth has been in love with a fantasy person who he has never spoken to, and that Anna actually provides, I'm sure, all of the conversation that his imaginary conversations with Summer actually were, versus like, when have we actually seen them have any conversation that isn't like, don't tell anybody that I kissed you? Like, that is the extent of the Seth Summer conversations up until this
Mhm.
point, where it's like Anna's like, I know enough about your life to make a comic book about it. Like it's
Yeah.
like I see I get the debate in my eyes. I'm like, clearly you have things to talk about with this fucking Anna girl where you and Summer
Sure.
are purely lust and nothing else right now.
Yeah, but also you're like
Yeah, you're
16.
not gonna
Why does
marry
it
either
need
one
to
of
be
them. So
about
like,
anything besides
Yeah.
lust right
Mhm.
now? Like, like I'm just like, what are we doing? I hate the end of this when Anna goes to Seth.
I agree. It made me
It made
so
me
angry.
so mad. Like,
And I hate it's not even just
furious.
she goes to Seth. Seth gets his like New Year's Eve moment. But then to add insult to injury, just in case the audience thought, okay, cool,
Yeah.
maybe this story's over and she's made a decision. We cut to Oliver's party where Summer's like, oh, you're just not Seth Cohen, which no human being has ever said. Like,
No.
No.
It's so awkward to shoehorn in. Like, no one would say that. You would just be like, hey, I have to leave.
yeah.
Like, goodbye.
Yeah, this poor dude
Yeah.
who's from like what do you say, like Oklahoma or some shit? Like he's just
Yeah.
out of town for a Newport Beach New Year's Eve.
It's like, I'm just trying to hang out. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm on vacation. I really
Yeah.
that's not my thing.
Like, this doesn't matter.
So okay, I'm gonna say something that's controversial. I actually really was endeared to the fact that Anna went over there. However, I was like, okay, this is a loss for feminism because
Well, that's the
you
so let me clarify. I agree with both
A
of
rare disagreement between us.
I'm going to agree
Yes.
with both of you in the sense of if I was Seth Cohen, I would fucking love that Anna showed up. I would think that that was fucking
course.
adorable. For the character of Anna, bad look. Like it's a bad look.
Fucked up.
yeah.
Fucked up. She's sitting there at the party talking to Summer. She and Summer are talking about how they're having she's talking about how she's having a bad time. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's so great. We don't have to worry about Seth now. Let's enter 2004. Blah, blah, blah. And then she goes over to Seth and just takes him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's fucked up. It is a fucked
Yeah.
up thing to
Yeah,
do.
it's a bad look for sure.
It's a very bad look. It gets worse.
But we do get a great line. We do get a great line out of Seth where she said, well, I was alone and you were alone, so I thought we could be alone together. And he's like, well, I wasn't alone. I had Captain Oates and Carson Daly by my side. Like, yeah, you're here now. I don't have to work for anything or earn anything.
Totally.
Like,
That I think
You
is
have
annoying
rewarded
too.
my bad behavior.
yeah,
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
But yeah, photo finish. Ryan makes it there just in time for midnight, which again, we're going to bring up Friends, but this is the thing that stresses me out in anything. Can we be done with the you have to kiss someone when the ball drops at midnight subplot
I
movies?
know.
It is the most stressful shit I've ever experienced. I've never once been at a party where people are like, oh, you better get next to somebody. Because, man, are you a loser if you're not making out as the ball drops?
I have literally never seen anyone care about it. It's like,
and are we
it's
supposed to
just a
believe that if Ryan
fabrication.
didn't show up in time, that was what Marissa was just going to start making out with Oliver, the guy that she just met in the lobby the other day?
Right.
Like,
We kind of are supposed to believe
supposed to
that.
I think
and
we
I
are
mean,
supposed to believe that.
they have never introduced a character. I don't think I've ever seen a show that has introduced a character in a more sociopathic, villainous way than a dude sitting outside of a therapy session psychoanalyzing another person.
It's
He's
horrifying.
fucking Patrick Bateman. That's what's happening in that
He is.
moment.
It's the
Yeah.
character of Marissa, God bless her. It's like, sweetie, what are you doing? What you're so pretty. Like, don't talk to someone like this. He is being crazy. You can just ignore him and be rude.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Yeah.
she never uses her pretty privilege. She never does it. She's like, no, maybe he's nice. And I'm like, no.
He's
Get out of there.
I literally can't think of a character I've hated quicker. You know what I mean? Like,
Horrible.
like even Umbridge won me over, at least in the start. I'm like, oh, she's just a weird little girl sitting up there in the
Aw.
But dear God.
Horrible.
I mean, have you ever watched the OC? Because I feel like Nanny Carey comes like is pretty high up there for me. But or no, sorry, One Tree Hill.
One Tree
Have
Hill.
you
I
ever
was like,
watched
I
One
am
Tree
watching the
Hill?
OC.
I was like, you
We
are watching the
are
OC.
watching.
I
Nanny
have
Carey is not in
definitively
it.
watched 14 episodes of the
Um,
OC.
Nanny Carey in One Tree Hill. See, they're interchangeable. They're interchangeable for me.
That's why I said white people
Um,
problems can keep going after the OC. There's at least 7 shows that I can think of off the top of my head that are the
Yes.
exact same white people problems teen drama bullshit.
Apparently, Dawson's Creek.
Dawson's Creek keeps coming up.
Keeps coming
It's
up.
the connective tissue between the two.
Dawson's Creek is the best show in the world.
I
And I love
I've
it.
said this already. I would so love to go into Pretty Little Liars next because I've never seen a single second of that show and it seems fucking bonkers.
It is
Like,
bonkers. I haven't finished it. I used to watch it, and then I never watched the last like 2 seasons because it just got crazy.
oh, like Riverdale crazy? Because Riverdale's
Yeah.
also gone off the fucking rails.
Riverdale, which I decided, as I talked about last time, to watch, and I just like blasted through 2. I can't wait for the last season to come out. It's crazy. It's a crazy show. It's insane, and I watched all of it.
I checked out of Riverdale after the first season because I was like, okay, this seems like enough. And I thought about going back into it, and then I heard the phrase jingle jangle, and I'm like, no, thank you.
I'm trying to
It's
think
like,
of
What? That's a normal street drug. Why wouldn't you call it jingle
yeah,
jangle?
don't you want some jingle
With
jangle?
a straight
Like,
face.
all right. So Sandy and Kirsten show up at the house. They have, I don't know. I kind of faded out once the party was over there, and their solution was we pulled the power. We shut off the power, and then everyone
Yeah.
just like, okay, bye.
My one thing when Sandy and Kirsten show up is like they're mad at Seth too, and I'm like, it's his aunt.
Yeah.
Like I know that
Yeah.
she looks younger than him, but like, what is he supposed to do?
It's
Yeah.
your sister. It's his aunt. Why is he held responsible? He was locked
Yeah.
in the pool house.
he was locked in the pool house.
yeah, he was like falsely imprisoned by a family member.
I also like the thing that I also don't get about this show is let's say that we've landed on the conclusion that Haley is 25 years old.
Yes.
And let's assume that all of the friends that she has at this party are about the same age.
Yes.
Who cares that the cops come? Because
Right.
I've been to parties, and one of the best parts about being at a party where everyone has aged past 21 is that you don't care. Like they show up and they're like, keep it down. Like, you're like,
Right.
okay.
It could only be a noise complaint at that point.
like he's like, we shut off the power and told them the cops were coming and everybody left. I'm like, they are 20 something years old. This means
Except for the 2 boys locked
Yeah,
in
the
the
2
pool
people-
house. Everyone's of age.
Erin, please promise me that on a future writing gig, you will write this exact scenario.
What? Okay, I'll turn the music down. Like, what do you?
Yeah, I was like, what? Well, I mean, it would. I again, I don't need to defend the logic of this show, right? But like, it would stand to reason that because there are people there who owe other people money or everything, there's probably some illicit things going
Yeah.
on at the party. But I
True.
mean, everyone's right. It's just like why at a certain point, it's like, okay, we don't need to have everyone's over the age of
Right.
21. We don't
and
need
yes,
to do
I thought
this.
about
And
what
it's
you were
also-
saying too. There could be
Yeah.
other stuff there. Are the cops really going to do anything about a bunch of rich white people in Newport Beach having like some cocaine at a New Year's Eve party? Like,
No.
no.
It also
No.
it is weird in party things where it's like the goal seems to be to trash the house.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
not you wouldn't normally walk into someone's house and start just like throwing things around the room. But in these party scenes, that's what it seems like someone is doing. Like someone's just
Yeah.
going in and like purposely like dropping bottles of wine and stuff,
It is
flipping the couch
flipping the
over.
couch. Yeah.
Like,
it's so strange because you're right. I've never been to a party like the only way that happens is like if you've got a blood feud with somebody and they crash
like
the party.
why
Like
yeah, like why would anything weird need to happen
Yeah.
at this? Like,
it's so bonkers.
The most frustrating thing about the entire episode is the fact that Haley, who has been absent in their lives for an definite uncertain amount of time, came back and like sought to it's almost like she wants to get revenge on Kirsten and
Yes.
Sandy, but at the same time it's like she's a family member and has completely disrespected their home, locked up their children, has like no regard for any of it. I'm like,
No.
and you think that they're just gonna give you is the point that you are such a menace that we're gonna give you any amount of money that you need in order for us to get rid of you? Because
Just to
that's
leave.
kind of
Yeah.
what exactly, that's kind of what she's going for.
I actually,
Yeah.
hold on a second, I just had a memory as we were talking about this. I'm realizing that for a dude who's been sober his entire life, I have been to some wild fucking parties. Because I absolutely have been to a house where the purpose of the party was to destroy a room in the house. They were, it was my friend Mark and Laura. They used to throw these rager parties in our like early 20s. And it was that they were about to have the carpet torn up and they were
Oh.
going to repaint the whole living room, and they're like, fuck it, let's have a wild party. They had a full water balloon fight in the living room. Like, it was just like, let's just wreak havoc in this empty room because they already moved all the furniture out of it, and like, let's just have chaos and debauchery in this room for a night. Like, and it was fun. It was a fun time to be walking around a party where just one room was like when you go to a Ren
Yeah.
fair and you pay to destroy things. Like,
I've always been more the here's Nigel with the partying type.
It is mind-blowing
And heartbreaking.
how many original scripts are written every year but are never made.
So we seek out these scripts and bring them to life with full audio production and professional actors.
Check us out at Undiscovered Scripts,
Movies made of paper.
wherever you get your podcasts.
Free.
We're giving a lot of love to Nigel, to Bogey with Nigel and the Brie, but like I feel that if I was ever to be a part of this type of party situation, I would be the girl that hosts the party in Can't Hardly Wait, where I'm just like, like really, don't guys, don't do
Please,
it.
no.
Like that's me the entire time.
Yeah.
yeah, no, I've never had a throw party regret yet, but I also haven't thrown a party in like 5 years. So we'll
No.
see. I think the next time I try, I'll be like, why did I do this? Never again. Chasing childhood memories. As I said, there are 12 songs in this episode, so let me rattle through all of these. Selling Submarines by The Pattern plays just as Haley's party shows up. This was trippy as shit to me. There's a song called Make Up Your Mind by a band called The Vacation. My friend was in a band in 2005 called Vacations, whose only song that they recorded was called Make Up Your Mind. So there was a split second where I was like, wait a second.
Oh my
Like,
God.
but
Oh,
no,
dear.
it sounded nothing like them. That's the song that's playing when they're destroying up the Cohen's house during Haley's party. Walking on Moonlight by Brookville plays as Oliver and Marissa are having a conversation. We've Had Enough by Alkaline Trio plays as Ryan overhears that Haley owes Cameo some money. Destiny by 07 plays as Kirsten and Sandy first walk into the swingers party. Walk Away by the Dropkick Murphys plays when Haley locks Ryan and Seth in the pool house. Ratso Rizzo by Laptop plays when Seth is getting claustrophobic. Just the Ride by Gem plays when we return to the swingers party. Overdriver by the Singapore Slang plays when Anna and Summer are trying to decide who the guy is looking at. Do You Ever Get a Feeling of Dread by the Suicide Machines plays as Haley tries to convince Seth and Ryan to now help her end the party. Flowers by the Flaming Sideburns plays as
Wow.
Anna leaves the New Year's Eve party. And then finally, as Ryan shows up just in time to kiss Marissa and say, I love you, Dice by Finley Quay and Beth Orton plays.
Yep.
So there's a lot of choices for what your favorite song of the episode was. So, Erin, you're the guest. I'll let you start off with a pick.
Thank you. I actually switched my pick halfway through, or while watching the episode. I had like written down my pick. Actually, first I picked Dropkick Murphys, and then I was like, no. Then the episode kept going, and then I was like, oh, Just a Ride, and then I was like, no, it's Dice.
All right.
It's just that's like what I think about in this episode. Obviously, I mean, like that's the moment of the episode. I think they actually use it really well, and they do it. That sequence is really good. But the episode's countdown, that is the end of the countdown. That's the song they use.
It's also the only
Best
moment
one.
where anything happens where the characters' lives move forward in some sort of way.
Truly.
Like,
Truly.
Otherwise,
Truly.
this episode could just not exist at all in the next.
You could just plop it right out. Which is so weird because, again, this season is
27
episodes long. So it's not like...
Which feels long even by 2003 TV show standard.
It is!
Like,
usually your max like 24 episodes.
Yeah.
27 is insane.
and that's like
amount.
24 on a sitcom, like a 30-minute sitcom.
Yeah.
But all right,
It's
Joe,
crazy.
how about you?
Oh, it's Dice.
Okay.
Like when we embarked on this journey together, Matt, and you said that we were going to do a segment about music, Dice and the countdown is exactly, it's one of 3 moments where I was like, I know exactly the music that I want, that I know exactly my pick for that.
Yeah.
I'm sure Erin can probably guess what the other 2 moments are. We'll probably have to take your earphones off for that.
I mean, is one of them Imogen Heap? Because I know that one. Like,
well, yes. I mean, that's a given. That's
that's
the number one.
the one that was literally a
That's the-
cultural moment. Like,
It's the best moment of television. So
Yes, it was a phenomenon.
it's literally the only part of the OC that I have seen up until this point, but we haven't
Yeah.
gotten to. Well, I'll be the odd man out.
And
because-
oddly enough, the third moment is the third moment that I think about is episode 1, season 4.
what was that one?
Oh.
It's episode 1, season 4. Matt, you're gonna have to take your earphones off.
Episode
what happened?
episode 1, season 4. Okay.
Yeah, it's the cover of Running Up That Hill.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, I literally tweeted about it when I was rewatching because I was just like, oh my
Yeah.
God, this is incredible. No, that is so good. So good.
Yeah.
That and
Okay,
Hallelujah
Matt, you ready?
for me.
Yeah, Hallelujah, of course, but yeah.
Hallelujah.
I was gonna say,
of course. That.
in my head, I kept hearing you saying season 1, episode 4, and I'm like, we already covered it, so you can just tell me.
Yeah, let's just talk about it.
All right, I'm gonna go in the opposite direction just because this was literally one of my favorite bands in high school, and it was the closest thing I've ever come to loving a band that no one had heard of. So when this band showed up out of nowhere on the soundtrack, I had to go with "Do You Ever Get a Feeling of Dread" by the Suicide Machines. Like,
Amazing.
my love of that band from the time I saw them on The Box, I was like, ooh, who is this? And started buying all of their albums. So
That's amazing.
like I prepared myself with the OC that I was going to hear some Death Cab. I was going to hear some Bright Eyes. Like, I was going to hear the sad boy emo that like Zach Braff introduced into my
You're
life.
gonna get rude.
Yeah, like, but I
Yeah.
was not prepared for Suicide Machines to make an appearance. So I like the same way that Brooke talked about like getting excited hearing All American Rejects swing in the first episode. Like, that was me when I heard Suicide Machines. All right, and then lastly, as we've talked about a million times before, the OC was an undeniable pop culture sensation, led to tons of memes, and it was the talk of the town for at least a couple seasons. So, real quickly, we always like to highlight what is something that held the pop culture zeitgeist at some point in the world that you are currently enjoying. Erin, you already gave us a little bit of a spoiler because you're 5 seasons deep into Lost. Like,
I was like, I'm so sorry, but it's Lost.
well, Erin, I'm going to go next just because this one ties to you. Because of your podcast and only your podcast, I watched both seasons of the train wreck that was Joey. And,
God bless.
No.
and holy crap. The best thing about watching Joe, the only way, honestly, to watch Joey is to listen to the episode of Best of Friends where you had the writer on
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
watch
my
it
friend
through the
John.
lens of what he said.
Yes.
Because you're just like, yep, I 100% see that all of these people knew that these episodes possibly were never going to go to air anyway. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just kind of like, this is what we're dealt.
Yeah.
Let's deal
and
with this.
and
That's fine.
the one that I keep explaining to people because I thought it was the most fascinating thing was when he was like, our big note was that none of the stories could not involve Joey. So like Joey had
Yes.
to be the central part of the A, B, and C story of every episode. And then you
Which as
watch it
soon
and you're like, oh my God, he is in every one of these stories. Like,
as soon as you have that lens, you're like, "Oh, that's why it feels weird." Like, because you're just constantly seeing him and you're used to Joey being 1/6
yeah.
of the
Mhm.
entire
It's like,
show.
why even have
Yeah.
other people on this show?
Right.
like every character on that show has
Why do we have Drea De
yeah,
Matteo then?
there's a threat that they
Yeah.
might have a subplot, but they never
Yeah,
get there.
and it's like, no.
Why De Matteo? Why Paulo Costanzo? Like,
I
come
know.
on. Like,
And that's the thing. Like, I do think that every episode there's at least one or two jokes where I'm like, God damn it, I hate that I actually chuckled at this. Like
Totally.
but it's like it's not worth the journey. But I'm glad I can say that I watched it now. So I've
I loved
taken
watching it.
I've taken that bullet. I think I messaged you about something in a Joey episode one time. You're like, oh honey, that is long gone out of my brain. It's like-
My
I don't
memory
even
is
think about
like,
him.
No.
All right, Joe, you can wrap this up. What is your pop culture moment?
Well, we're sticking with sticking with television, right? I think that my pop culture moment is has to be happy endings. It's one of my favorite. It's a rewatch for me
Same.
often. So it's like Modern Family, Frasier, and Happy Endings and Gilmore Girls. These four are the comfort watches, depending on how I'm feeling at any single point. And I just love. I haven't rewatched it in a while, and I'm on season 3, and it's
Me
just
too.
it is delightful. It's
That's
so
like my
good.
next HBO Max show that I'm going to dive into because I saw that it's on there. So I do because Joe, you don't know this. Literally, most of Best of Friends also acts as a Happy Endings fan cast because they
I
bring it up so
love
much.
happy endings.
But they've talked about it so much that I'm
Uh,
like, okay, I guess I'll. What there was one line that you guys said so many times where it's like, oh, are we being mean now or something? Or
Oh, are we not piling
are
on?
we not piling on?
yeah.
Oh, are we not piling on?
Are we not doing pylons?
Are we not piling on? I've just been rewatching 2, and we're up to season 3, and I'm so sad because I'm like, I'm running out of episodes.
I know, and I almost don't want to finish it because it's like
Me
it could have
too.
gone. It could have gone at least 1 or 2 more seasons and
I know.
been really good. And again, Matt, there's I think it's in season 2, but it's a Valentine's Day episode where they're all in the limousine and Brad, who he's like under anesthesia from the dentist, he looks at each of them and names the character from Friends that they're like the surrogate for. Which, when he did that, I was like, "See, television writers know. Like, it's like
So
we're not
funny.
reinventing the wheel."
Yep, it's so good.
All right. Well, Erin, one last thing. We're going to put you on the hot seat. One last time. Is there anywhere people should go if they want to get more Erin Mallory Long in their life before your next appearance on the show when you become our first 3-time guest?
Yes. Yes. I'm everywhere at Erin Mallory Long. I mostly hang out on Twitter, Instagram, sometimes TikTok. That's about it.
All right. Well, we will be back next week. We finally entered the year of 2004 at the end of this episode,
Ugh.
so it's only
Bless.
it's a beautiful year in my memories. So let's see how it holds up in the OC.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.